Steve Jewin, MMA Mania.
All right, Gilbert, you're now on the line with Steve Jewin of MMA Mania. Go ahead, Steve.
Gilbert, it's a pleasure to talk to you. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great,
You're going to have a big fight coming up here, Bellator 162. It's going to be your chance to make a second impression, but let me tell you something you already know. I think you made the right first impression. In fact, I thought you won the fight with Fernando Gonzalez. The judges didn't agree, so...
No, man, honestly, it's one of those situations that it was my fault because I made the fight too close. I actually made some mistakes. To me, that was one of my worst training camps, for personal reasons. Fernando Gonzalez, he fought me at my worst, so he was lucky. But Rick Rainey, he's not going to be so much lucky. I'm in my best training camp. Everything is dialed in. We're ready to go. He's going to be smoked.
You say Fernando Gonzalez was lucky, but at the end of that first round, when you were pounding on him, you didn't look lucky. And for the next two rounds, you were pretty well out wrestling him.
Yeah. Sometimes the judges see different things, and once again, it's my job to not even make the fight close at all. So the judge is giving the fight to him. Am I mad about that? Yes, I am. I'm frustrated, but I guess I'm more frustrated at myself and my own performance. Because I gave the judges a opportunity to make that mistake in a call. So this fight with Rick Rainey, I'm going to make the job of the judges very easy.
We look forward to that. October 21st, FedEx Forum, Memphis. But before that, let me ask you what you see in Sniper that you think you can exploit. What is his weakness? What are you going to look to bring to him?
Is that his name? The American Sniper?
Yes.
That's funny. Honestly, the goal is this. We're going to beat him from bell to bell. We're going to beat him in every facet of the sport. I said it earlier. Hopefully, Rick Rainey had some success in the gym training because come fight night, he's going to have zero success. And that's a fact.
You said that there were personal things going on with the Fernando Gonzalez fight. I would have thought just the fact that you took the fight on short notice would have been the biggest thing to overcome. But is there anything you can go into about why you didn't feel it was a great camp?
I will say this much. As a fighter, people don't realize we have a life, and outside of fighting. And sometimes our fight life and our personal life don't add up, and things go wrong. And unfortunately, one thing affects the other because we are human beings, and we can't always separate everything. So this fight, the last fight was a big learning lesson for me because I let some things that was personal affect too much in my professional life. And, that's something we definitely erased and made sure that it's not going to happen again. So I feel very confident.
I'm sure that confidence will come through in this fight with Ricky Rainey. When you look back on vacating the RFA title, that was what got you into Bellator. You took the fight on short notice. Do you feel like, in hindsight, you're still happy with that decision?
I talked to Ed Torres, and he was honest with me. He's an honest guy. I appreciate everything that company did for me. And he said, basically, I reached the ceiling of the company. He said, yeah, I can fight again, but, it won't really make sense, money-wise or even, career-wise. So it was time for me to move on to a bigger company, either the UFC or Bellator. Bellator came with a deal that would have matched the UFC deal. So money-wise, it was the same thing. So I'm pretty happy with the decision that I made.
Well, speaking of UFC, as somebody who's been there before, how do you compare the UFC and the Bellator environment? What do you feel are like the strengths and weaknesses between the two?
All right. Well, I'm not going to hold no punches. I'm going to be honest. There's definitely pros and cons, right? As far as money-wise, the Bellator gave me a very comparable deal that the UFC would have gave me. I'm probably going to make way more money off of sponsorships, in Bellator than the UFC. The little bit pros to the UFC sometimes, it could be, they do put on more shows, so sometimes I can fight a little bit more often, because I was a little bit frustrated how long it took for me to get a fight. Also, sometimes the UFC can have really cool locations. You know, they go fight in Australia, Ireland, Brazil. So, but on the same token, the Bellator is starting to move out to those same neighborhoods. So, I mean, so they had a fight in Italy, and they had a fight in England. So, I actually look forward to seeing the different places that Bellator will go to, and then maybe I can get a free trip. That I go out there, fight, and stay for a little bit longer, and turn my fight situation to a little bit of a vacation. That'd be cool.
That sounds like a good deal. I mean, they've definitely made this the International Year of Bellator, and you already said it yourself. They've had shows in Italy and in England, and coming up soon they're having a show in Israel. So there's lots of opportunities to travel overseas.
Yeah, and I love to travel. I used to always travel, especially when I was in the Army. So I love to travel, and I like to do that. Inside the Bellator cage, that'd be fun.
Was that part of the reason you laughed when I told you Ricky Rainey's nickname was the Sniper?
No, I just think like if you gonna name yourself a sniper, you should be going there and smashing everybody. You should be going there finishing everybody. He got a few finishes, but against who? I mean, he's not a flashy guy like a Michael Page. He's not a super long guy like a Chidi Kawanji. He's not a knockout artist like whoever the knockout artist in the welterweight division.
Douglas
Brandon
Lima.
Ward. You say what?
I'd say Lima is.
Yeah, Lima. And also, he's not a huge submission artist either. So, like, I mean, what do you mean by American Sniper? Like, who are you snipering? Like, these fighters come up with these crazy names to try to sound hardcore. Oh, that's pretty cool. I saw it in a movie. I'm gonna take that name. That's why my name is a little bit different. It's fun. We could giggle at it. Call me Chocolate Thunder. I mean, I kind of earned my name, but I'm not gonna talk about that right now. But the whole sniper, assassin. Come on, man. You could be a little bit more original.
Yeah, well, there are definitely no shortage of overused nicknames in MMA, and Chocolate Thunder definitely stands out. So, since you referenced it, how did it come about? Are you just bringing the thunder in all aspects of your life?
Yeah, man. I mean, there's a couple reasons why I'm called Chocolate Thunder, but let's just stick with the fact that the fighting term.
Now, what do you think is your biggest improvement since the Fernando Gonzalez fight? What do you think has changed the most for you between then and now?
So going back, I did some things different. First and foremost, I'm actually getting a full training camp, which is a blessing. Full training camp with no injuries and no excuses. So we definitely took out the personal issues. I did a minor switch up on in my coaching staff. I have the same coaches, but just my coaches have different roles. My goal in this training camp is to become more selfish. I needed to think about myself more. I need to make sure that I'm getting everything I need and not, because sometimes in the gym, I'm always there to help other people and say, hey, I will sacrifice certain training aspects to make sure my training partners, will have that type of support. This training camp now is like, it's about me. I mean, I still help out my training partners, but if it's not going to play a role in my training camp, then I don't want to do it.
Well, speaking of your training partners, who's been the most helpful getting you ready for this fight with Ricky Rainey? Who's the guys that you can credit the most? I can credit
one, my coaching staff. We could start there because they're the biggest aspect. As far as my boxing coach, Carl Sabero, who's now my head coach. It's funny enough, he's actually literally wrapping my hands right now as we speak.
Oh.
My brother who always been there with me for all my fights, David Lawrenson. He's my tie pad holder. He's been growing so much in that aspect. Dude's a chiropractor, but he loves the sport so much. He really learned, holding pads, and he takes a significant time out of his day, from his practice to come help me train. And then also my Muay Thai coach, Mark Montoya at Factory X, who's also the head coach to Joe Warren and Brian Rogers and Dustin Jacoby. As far as training partners, all those, I got a lot of guys, man, from Chris Camozzi. He's always been a huge support. Dustin Jacoby been a huge support. Even Brian Rogers himself, he's been a really good support for me as far as like just mentally, just talking to me about the sport and the ups and downs and rebounding. I got my own guys in Colorado Springs, from Malcolm Versenal and my jiu-jitsu friend Yako. He came here, helped me a couple of times. He's a black belt, and my jiu-jitsu guys in Castle Rock. I just got a whole squad of people, man, in Colorado. So I've been super blessed.
Definitely working with some great guys, Dustin Jacoby, Chris Camozzi, Brian Rogers, who I've had the pleasure to talk to before. Great guy. I feel bad sometimes that he's always in the highlight reels, but he's not always in the top of the cards. I kind of wish things would go a little better for him because he's a great guy.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely have a lot of heart, and he's working to make some changes too. So, I definitely believe that, he's going to make a comeback. And the thing about it, even if he doesn't, he has a long career in the sport, and he has a long career in possibly in coaching, cornering. He's a great guy.
Now, we haven't seen Dustin Jacoby in a little bit. His last fight was Bellator 132. Do you have any idea when he's going to be back?
Yeah, he's fighting the same night that I'm fighting. We both getting ready together.
Oh, I apologize. I didn't realize.
No. Unfortunately, he's fighting in Glory.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's why I was confused, because I was like, I don't remember him being on the Bellator card, and I would have felt really stupid.
Yeah. He's fighting the same night that I'm fighting. So, we banging it out in the gym. We both fighting the same night. We both getting ready. And he's a perfect, thank you, brother. He's a perfect person to spar with as far as kickboxing goes, because of the fact that, he's a tall, right-handed kickboxer. And his kickboxing is way better than Rick Rainey will ever be. We were just sparring last night. So, yeah, man, I definitely appreciate the people that I have in my life.
Is there any chance we're going to see you in a Bellator kickboxing fight then?
You never know. I mean, at the end of the day, if the money is right, we could do whatever. I'm here to fight, man. I'm here to compete, and that's a good challenge for me. Something I've never done. I box with some of the best boxers. I box with some of the Olympic hopefuls in Colorado Springs. I kickbox with some of the best guys. I would love to go out there and just totally display my striking awesomeness.
We'll look forward to seeing you totally display that striking coming up here October 21st in Memphis with Ricky Rainey. But before I let you go, Gilbert, I want to thank you for the time and give you this chance to plug sponsors and social media.
Yeah, I want to thank my sponsors, Hugh Burger Subaru in Colorado Springs. They always support me. Adidas Combat Sports. I want to thank my gym, Victory MMA, Hustle Hard Boxing, 53X Muay Thai, Castle Rock Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, my physical therapist from Rocky Mountain Rehab, my chiropractor from Chiro Care Recovery Center, and and obviously all my training partners and my coaches and my fans and my family. I want to thank everybody.
All right, and on Twitter at Jamal Smith MMA, correct? Yes,
and also Instagram at GJS Victory MMA, Snapchat at GJS Victory MMA 09, and also you can find me on Facebook under official Gilbert Jamal Smith.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing you bring the thunder against Ricky Rainey on October 21st. Any final prediction on how the fight will go before I let you go today?
I'm just going to finish him. He will be finished.